on paper, everything looked great, but I just couldn't enjoy it, you know, and even that was frustrating, you know, because I knew I should be.
Hello, welcome back to another episode, and today I'm really happy to be joined by one of my ex-clients, Gareth. He's come on the show to talk about his experience on the Change Your Life program as a one-to-one, and yeah, let's see what comes up. Thanks very much for joining us and giving us your time, Gareth.
No problem, pleasure to be here.
What I'd like to start with, first of all, is ask why did you choose to seek my support?
So I was struggling a little bit, struggling quite a lot actually, with for many years with kind of procrastination and time wasting, and it was causing me a lot of anxiety, and it was becoming kind of a self-perpetuating situation. The more anxious I became about procrastinating, the more I would do it, the less I was able to concentrate, and it was really having a huge effect on my life. And I've been working with a life coach called James Boardman, which is how I kind of found you, through him. And I think what I was kind of seeking to working with James was really what we managed to discover working together, which was to tackle that particular area that I was having a problem with, which was, you know, procrastination and not really being able to get on with the tasks that I needed to do.
Mm-hmm. So you run your own business, don't you?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
How was the procrastination and anxiety affecting you and your life?
Yeah, I mean, it was massive. It was really difficult. I was really struggling with it because I think one of the things when you know that you're not kind of living a fulfilled life is that you feel anxious and depressed about it. Well, I did anyway, and that's obviously why I was seeking help. But it's difficult, and it feeds into every aspect of your life. I mean, it means you can't be a good boss, or you can't run your business well, can't be a good father or husband as well, because you're kind of preoccupied and not really living in the moment, because you're always thinking about these other things that either you need to do or you haven't done or you should be doing. It was it was tough, and it was really affecting me, which is obviously why I sought your help. So
would you say that you were a bit skeptical about the idea of hypnotherapy? Because obviously we're so used to the sort of stage type hypnosis, and that's what everybody thinks of when you hear the word hypnotherapy. So sort of I do come up against a lot of skepticism and have to overcome that. But was that something that you experienced?
Definitely. And I didn't think it would work for me. I didn't think I was that kind of guy. If I didn't believe in it, it wouldn't work for me, that type of thing. Because of the preconceptions and not really understanding what it was, and obviously I know a lot better how helpful it can be. But I think also the other thing that was really helpful that you have done to help me understand is trying to explain what we're doing, how the brain works, why we're acting in certain ways, and how the hypnotherapy works. So that understanding has kind of really helped me to relax into the process and much better understand what's happening and better understand myself. So yeah, very skeptical at the beginning, but obviously I'm a convert now.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, so as I kind of probably have mentioned at some point in the podcast before, it isn't just hypnotherapy, the Change Your Life program. It is a big part of it, but a lot of it has to do with you understanding how your mind works and therefore being able to live differently, because we can't help the fact that we've got a caveman brain designed for caveman times, but it's just about overcoming the annoying things that the primitive brain does and learning to live with it. So
yeah, but I think that was massive, because you catch yourself once you understand what you're doing, then you can catch yourself and not kind of do those repeat patterns that have not been working for you for many years. Like but if you don't understand what you're doing, not necessarily why you're doing what you're doing, then it's then there's no way to change it. So I think that it was a huge part of it, and it gave me such a big understanding of the way the mind works, even in such a short time. It was really fascinating. So yeah, very helpful.
What would you say the biggest breakthrough you had through working on the program?
I think for me, I mean, there was the better understanding of myself meant that I think I was less hard on myself, and that really has helped to kind of stop those feelings of anxiety. In fact, when I came to start working with you, I was suffering quite badly from anxiety. It wasn't crippling, but it was always there in the back of my mind, almost like a physical feeling. And then after a few sessions, that just completely went away. So I mean, that was the biggest thing. That was my biggest take from it. I'm much happier, I'm more relaxed, and I think that has helped to tackle the problems that I came to you with, but it also has helped tackle much more, given me much more enjoyment of life, and helping me to be much more present, and that obviously affects all of the areas in my life more positively. So I don't know, did that answer your question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so generally you're happier, calmer, able to be more present. And what difference does it make that you're now able to, you're not stuck in your own head?
Well, obviously I'm much happier, and I'm much more appreciative, I think, of my life and the smaller things in life, and that really helps in relationships, both within my business and within my personal life, because I think I'm much more approachable, and I can I can look at situations more objectively without panicking, without freaking out. And I think I'm so it's really helped me to be more present, calmer, and just enjoy my life more, and appreciate the things I have more, because you can live in the present and you can appreciate it rather than always being with your head being somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the thing with a lot of my clients, actually. Like, when you look at them, they say this in the discovery call, my life is actually great, on paper, couldn't have it any better, but I'm not feeling great because in my mind I'm feeling stressed or anxious or never able to be present. So the difference mostly is made inside your mind, and therefore
100%. It definitely is that, exactly what you described. On paper everything looked great, but I just couldn't enjoy it, and even that was frustrating, because I knew I should be. And I guess it's very easy to say, what have you got to be anxious about, or you can't really help those feelings, but it really has helped me to absolutely enjoy what I've got, and appreciate it.
Brilliant. And would you say that your business has benefited?
Yeah, it definitely has, because first of all, I'm doing things that I need to do. I'm not putting tasks off to the last minute and then doing not a very good job at them. And secondly, I think it's given me more time in a way, because I have time to look at things objectively, and I think I'm much more approachable, and I can see other opportunities. I can be more creative because I've got the calmness of mind, really, to be able to look at that, whereas before I was always worrying about things, and that really is not a good place to be if you're trying to run a business or trying to solve problems, because you can't think objectively sometimes, and that really is what you need to do. So it's really helped. And I know my employees would probably say the same thing, that I'm much easier to work with, and I'm much more approachable, and and things are getting done a lot quicker than maybe 6 months ago before we started working together.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the primitive brain, just from a business perspective, if you're trying to run your own business and you're living in survival mode in your primitive brain, you can't think straight. You don't have the same mental resources as you do when you're in your intellectual mind, and you have this brain fog, and you lose sight of that big picture, and you're firefighting all the time, and struggling with things like procrastination, which is a coping mechanism when you're in survival mode. Whereas when you're in your intellectual mind, and as part of the program, we work on confidence levels as well. And so when you have a greater level of trust in yourself and your own abilities, added to the fact that when you're in your intellectual mind, you have mental clarity, and you can see the big picture, and you can just know you're just not in survival mode anymore, so you do have the big picture and the intellectual control to do the right things, and you're just able to be more productive, so you do save time,
and more creative, I think, as well, because you can think much more objectively and you can look at the situation from a calmer standpoint instead of panic, which obviously is like a primitive brain thing. So therefore you can solve problems that you wouldn't have been able to before, whereas it's been very useful from that aspect, for sure.
Brilliant. And do you enjoy your business more now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also running my own business. I'm much more able to recognize the opportunity that it gives me, rather than it being something that causes me too much stress and the pressure. I'm now, I can appreciate the fact that I can be flexible, I can make my own choices. It's really, I'm in a very lucky and privileged position, and I'm not sure I recognized that before, but I'm definitely much more aware of it now.
Yeah, so part of our work on the program is rewiring the brain to be more positive, so that now you can lean into and completely enjoy the benefits of running your own business, rather than being stressed by it like it was before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool. So it's now been 3 months since you finished the Change Your Life program. What has changed, would you say, between the end and now?
I think I've got much more self-awareness. When we were working together within the program, it was a little bit more intense, in a way where I was thinking about it a lot more, because we had certain things that we needed to do, the diary every day, and we were meeting once a week, and there was a lot more structure to it. So, and I think what has happened since then is that I've become much more self-aware in a way that I understand when the primitive brain maybe has taken over, or I'm going down a spiral in negativity, or things that maybe a trigger that's making me feel in a certain way. And I think I can recognize those patterns much quicker and make sure that I don't kind of fall into the patterns that I had before, which were obviously not working for me very well. So I think much more understanding of myself and awareness, I think, are the two things that I would say has happened in the last few months, but almost organically, not without me really trying. It's just I haven't really been working at it anymore. I've just noticed that it's happening and living more in the moment. So
that's brilliant. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. You get to a point. That's why it is 12 weeks, because you formed habits throughout the process, so that by the end you're able to self-manage, and you don't require the level of effort as you do during the program, because you're at a point where it is subconscious, and it's wired into your brain to be this way now. So you are more positive, you are more resilient, you are more calm on a subconscious level, because all of your emotions and your feelings are coming from the subconscious mind. But consciously, like you say, you've got that level of self-awareness to catch yourself immediately and be able to turn things around, whether it's reframing or whatever. But the fact is that you can self-manage because you know exactly how your brain works now, and you've got that confidence to do so. So
exactly. And the life problems are still the same. My children still don't clean their teeth in the morning, and they're always late for school, and but it's just the way that we react to those situations, and let them affect you or not affect you, or even the way you outwardly react towards whoever's stressing you out in that time generally helps and diffuses the situation. So
exactly. It's not about,
sorry, my dog's barking in the background.
That's right. It's not about changing life or removing the primitive brain. It's just learning to manage better, isn't it? And stay calm and get more enjoyment, because you just work better with the caveman brain that we've got.
Yeah.
So
Are
you proud of how far you've come in the time?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I hadn't really thought too much about that aspect of it, but actually I'm very proud and very grateful for the program, because it's just made me so much happier, and I think the people around me would be very pleased as well, because I think I'm much easier to live with than I used to be. For sure.
That's brilliant. What would you say to someone who's listening to this and maybe resonating with some of the things that you've said and thinking about maybe trying the Change Your Life program? What would you say to them?
I think I would say, obviously, I'm an advocate for it, having benefited massively from it. But I also think that working with you is much more flexible than people maybe would understand initially. That, you know, you come with a certain set of problems or something that you want to fix, or you're unhappy about something. And I think that you really help to get to the bottom of that, rather than maybe you don't really understand yourself why or how or what's going on, but you know you're unhappy and you want to make a change. And that's definitely what, when I came to you, that's what I wanted. And I think you really helped me understand what the problems were and why, as in, you know, by explaining how your brain works and primitive brain and all of that. So I think it's much more of a kind of partnership process than maybe just doing a off the peg program that people might expect.
Yeah, definitely. It is very flexible because life happens. A lot can happen in 12 weeks, and we go with whatever you come to a session with that week. We work with that. It's not that, okay, right, that this is week 3, so we're doing this week. It's, yeah, I work with whatever's in front of me. And
as things change and different priorities come up, you know, if you're learning how to cope better with a certain aspect, then we can work on a different one. And then, so I would say, you know, I think if people are thinking about it, they're thinking about it for a reason. And I would say it's been massively beneficial for me. Always after the session, I felt incredibly kind of motivated and clear-headed, and it always felt really good for the rest of the day after the session, for sure.
Brilliant, thank you. And final question, I think, would be, if there's somebody that, because I know that my clients listen to these episodes as well, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe just starting the program and is listening to this?
Well, I think you've got to trust and believe in the process. And I didn't always do my homework as much as I should have. You know, obviously there's the, you know, the positivity diary and all the things. But I would just say, yeah, just relax into the process and ask all the questions that you want and really be honest with you, because that is the best way for you to get the most out of it. Just, you know, I think the more you go through the process, the more you learn, and then the easier it is to talk about things. You know, I was never great at expressing myself or talking about my feelings. That's not kind of the person I've ever been in the past, but I did find it was very, very easy, very quickly, just to kind of say, these are the things that are bothering me, you know, and let's work through them. And I think it's just to be open and honest is probably the easiest and the best way to get the most out of it.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, Gareth, and sharing all of your thoughts and everything with us. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, and we are still working on a monthly basis. Why did you choose to carry on actually on a monthly basis? Because I just want to say that by the time you finish a Change Your Life program, you absolutely don't need to carry on. But it is an option if you kind of enjoy working with me or whatever. So,
well, I think that's the thing. I've found it quite fascinating and interesting. One, the change that it's made in my life, and two, the process and understanding, and how, you know, I maybe lived like 15, 20 years the previous way, and now in 6 months I've changed, you know, exponentially. And I just think it's, you know, I wanted to carry on and see where the journey can take me, really. So that's why I decided to carry on.
Yeah, brilliant. And I know that in your audio you've got the line, the better it gets, the better it gets. And when you're in a hypnotic state, your subconscious mind just takes on these positive suggestions as new beliefs. So yeah, it's incredible what lies ahead, because you actually believe that the better it gets, the better it gets. And the things that you believe on a subconscious level, your subconscious mind is looking out for that to be your reality. So yeah, it's really cool. Looking forward to
absolutely
what's ahead. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Gareth, and see everybody next week.
All right, take care. Thanks very much.
My mission with this podcast and why I started it was to serve. And so I really hope that everything I've shared with you today and in previous episodes is serving you and helping you to change your life. It requires consistent action, it requires effort. But if you're willing to put in the work, then you can absolutely change a great deal just by listening to me and implementing my advice. However, if you're listening and you would like to work with me, then obviously I work too. I do solution-focused hypnotherapy and much more, and my program is called Change Your Life, and it's a program that I'm really proud of. So if you're interested in this and would like some more information about how it works and whether it would be right for you, then do get in touch with me via the information in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to share it with a friend or stick it up on stories on Instagram and tag me at Believe and Achieve with Jenna. See you next week.